Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. I hope we're all well. Hope we're looking after ourselves on a Tuesday afternoon / evening. It's a little bit miserable, a little bit cold. So hopefully you've got some news stories that keep you a little bit warmer inside today. Coming off the back, obviously a good win last night. I say a good win. It wasn't the best of performances, but a clean sheet away from home to a top 10 team with a win. It's a good result on the face of things. It's back to winning ways as well. I think it lifts the mood a little bit around the club, around the players. And we'll talk a little bit about the game, talk about a little bit what Harry Kane's had to say as well. We'll sort of jump straight in with Arnaut Danjuma. So that's the guy. Here we go, confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. He's on his way to do his medical at Spurs. Now, if you weren't aware, Arnaut Danjuma is a player from Villarreal. He was actually due to actually sign for Everton. If you look under some of his last sort of Twitter posts, the guy was touted as the guy that will keep Everton up. And it feels weird to be on this side of things to kind of say, hey, we swooped in, we took the player. Normally it's Liverpool with Luis Diaz or Chelsea with God knows how many players. It's something that actually we've done it to someone else. Arnaut Danjuma, I'll talk a little bit about stats for this season. I'll talk a little bit of stats for last season as well, because there's some key things actually in there that I do want to talk about. Now, if you don't know a little bit about Danjuma, don't worry, I'll go through it all. Danjuma plays a little bit of a versatile role in attacking positions. He plays a little bit more so on the left as well as a striker at times. Kind of like Richarlison, but I think Richarlison you'll probably find will be, for sure, the player that will play up front more so. As well as the guy that will play out on right a little bit, because obviously I know Kulusevski got a little bit of a knock against Fulham. Danjuma this season, he's played 17 times, scoring 6 appearances. Has 17 appearances, scored 6 goals. Sorry about that one, lads. That was a tongue tease. It's been a long day. It's been up since crack of dawn. He hasn't really played that much in the last sort of 4 games. I think he's got about 68 minutes in the last 4 games. So it's definitely been a sort of situation where he's not played a lot. I think it's because he's been looking to get out of the club. He's been wanting to move, so he's barely played. I mean, he's not in the squad for the last game. He didn't come off the bench the game before that. So, you know, it's not something he's been playing. But yeah, 6 goals and 17 appearances. 2 in La Liga, 2 in the Copa del Rey, and 2 in the Conference League. So 2 goals in 10 games in La Liga, and I think it's like 2 in 4 in both the other competitions. So an interesting player, 26 years old. He's due to turn 26 on deadline day. So in a few days' time, he'll be 26. So, you know, good little birthday move for himself. Last season, though, that's what I want to talk a little bit about. I think last season, because he was playing a little bit more regularly, he was in the team, he was one of the main players last season. Danjuma actually scored 6 goals in 11 Champions League games. And obviously, if you weren't aware, Villarreal they got to the semi-final and got knocked out by Liverpool last season. So, big game player, scored good goals for Villarreal, was an important player last season under Unai Emery, obviously now Aston Villa manager. Obviously, he just probably wanted to try something a little bit different. He had a stint at the Bournemouth when they were last in the Premier League before. Obviously, this new stint came through. Didn't really hit the ground running, hence why he left to go abroad. Had a great season in the Championship the year before, though, scoring, I think it was 17 and 35. So, you know, does pop up with some good goals and good goal contributions. Has had a really good time in La Liga. He's been a very solid player there. And actually, you know, I would probably say he gives us an element that we don't have. Trickery and pace on the left wing. Son, for some reason, has the trickery but doesn't seem to utilise the pace. You know, that sort of thing. I think also it gives more depth in the attacking positions that we really, really want. Especially because Kulusevski and Richarlison, one of them every game seems to get injured or is injured. Okay, so it's a bit of a nuisance, really, to be honest, with those two's injury sort of form so far this season. But yeah, so Danjuma, here we go, confirmed. Fabrizio Romano, thanks for that, lad. Always lovely to see the here we go confirmed from him. Ornstein was the one that first broke it, I believe, where he gave all the initial information that, you know, his medical was done at Everton. He had media appearances lined up, you know, the full works, right? Just ready to announce him. But Danjuma's side hadn't submitted their forms to the FA, hence why it wasn't completed. Because this information came on the 11th hour, the Spurs were like, hey, you got Everton there. Come fight for something in the top half of the table. No beef to Everton, obviously, on that, because I actually like Everton. We got a good relationship, obviously, with Richie from the summer. So, he probably, I thought when it came out, he had quotes that he wanted to try and fight for, try and help a team fight, and he wanted to become a sort of a cult hero in that regard, kind of like a Richarlison in a way. But I think probably the money was probably good. He probably was thinking, I do get Champions League football still. We're fighting for top four. We're in the FA Cup still. You never know. If you win something at Spurs, you are a cult hero. So it's that same thing. Does he prefer London over Merseyside? I don't know. I really don't know. But there's a hell of a lot of tube strikes in London, so I hope he doesn't need to use those bad boys. But yes, so that's here we go, confirmed. So moving on, I think a lot of Spurs fans were like, well, this is great, but that right wing-back position still needs some work. Now, I know Emerson did have a very good game last night against Fulham, but it doesn't really, cure the situation there, if you know what I mean. So, Pedro Porro, there was talks obviously lined up today, and a lot of sources have said, look, like Alistair Gold, Romano, and so on, they've said they're getting close to Spurs and Sporting Lisbon. Alistair Gold seems to reckon that the €45 million fee or the £39 million fee is actually not exactly what Sporting Lisbon want anymore. I think they're starting to reduce what they want. And this is kind of what I predicted, that when a player is basically saying, look, get me out, I'm super keen to go to Spurs. And this is what Romano said, he's super keen to go to Spurs. He's desperate to get here. I think on top of that, Spurs playing hardball, him wanting to leave, I do actually think this has played a huge part. And I think Sporting Lisbon probably were holding out for as long as possible, thinking, if we play hardball, maybe Spurs come and give us what we want. And I think Spurs are like, well, Daniel leaving, I know what he's like, sort of in sort of regards. We've had too many situations and evidence of this. I will happily sit here and wait till the 11th hour on the 59th minute, on the 59th second to get my deal. And it does kind of seem like it's going that way. I did kind of predict we'd have someone signed before the next game. I assume it's going to be Danjuma, so hopefully he'll be in the squad and registered by then. But, he is travelling down to London right now, so this is something that's hitting and going quickly. And it's a loan deal with an option to buy with Danjuma, by the way. With Porro, it would be a deal signed. It's not a loan deal. I do see Porro still happening. I do. It does seem like it's going to happen. It fits Conte's mould. It fits his system. And I'm not going to lie, after watching Conte last night, anyone that thinks he's not in the mood to still be at Spurs or he doesn't care about Spurs, I think you need to check yourself, because the man showed passion that we maybe hadn't seen in a little while. It shows that he cares. He still loves the fans. He still loves the club as such. He's just dealing with some difficulties above him, and Paratici having a situation and Daniel Levy throwing him under the bus at any possible moment he can get. You can understand why he's a little bit miffed. Moving on, Nicolo Zaniolo. Now, so we talked probably for a few times now about how, Spurs want Zaniolo. They want a loan deal with, obligation to buy if certain things are hit, and that sort of deal, right? So it came out last night that Zaniolo doesn't want to leave Serie A. He actually wants to move to AC Milan. Now, this is kind of ironic, because in the next round of the Champions League, on February the 14th, we play AC Milan. So we're bound to come up against him if he was to go there. I don't think the deal is done as such, because actually Zaniolo plays so many positions, it could be considered he's the central midfield option alongside, him being able to play a bit further forward and, him supposedly being able to play wing back. I do think if he doesn't want to leave Serie A, though, and AC Milan come knocking, and AC Milan, the top dogs in Serie A at the moment, I know not this season, but last season they won the league. I know Napoli this season are having an absolute stormer. If this is the case, though, this is the case. He loves Italy, doesn't want to leave Italy. You can't blame him for that regard. It would be a shame if we don't get him, because I really wanted him. Do really, really want him. And the Danjuma signing does make me think it's a little bit desperate. And maybe it's connected that because he doesn't want to leave Serie A, we've had to go for someone really quickly to try and say, look, let's get him in, appease Antonio. Does Antonio want Danjuma? Do you like him? You sort of like him? All right, we'll get him in. It could be that. It could be that he loves him and, he didn't think he was going to go for him because he wanted Zaniolo. But hey, this is a plan B and I still like plan B. Maybe it's that. Maybe they wanted Danjuma all along and they were trying to, sort other things out and it has, fallen apart. I don't know. But it does kind of feel like Zaniolo was plan A, plan B is Danjuma. But my feeling about this is, look, Danjuma was an option to buy. This isn't like a You've spent money this window, sorry. Pedro Porro will obviously be spending some money this winter. Well, where now in this sort of situation are we finished? Because we shouldn't be sitting there going, we've spent 30 million this winter on 2 players. We should be looking saying, hey, we were going to spend this obligation to buy for the summer. Let's tie someone else into that obligation. Let's get them in now. Let's go and get that central midfielder. Let's go and get that centre half. Skriniar is out of contract in the summer, right? He is out of contract. Do we say, look, we're going to hand you this big old signing on fee in the summer. Here's a big old contract because you're free, because that means it's free. It's cheaper in the long run to do these sort of things. Is it we go get Stefan de Vrij because he's going to be out of contract in the summer? We'll go, look, we'll give you a few mil now. We'll take him off your hands. You see what I mean? Maybe we go get that centre half. Maybe it helps us towards the end of the season. Maybe the central midfielder is the option. Who that would be, I really, really don't know at the moment, because it comes out Kessie's not leaving Barca now, so he's off the table. So who do we go and get? We always wanted an attacking player, a right wing back, and a central midfielder. Who is that guy? There's still someone there that we should be getting. We've still got another week left of this window. We really need to put our foot down now. We want Danjuma in. It'd be great if we can get Pedro Porro in, but by the weekend. There's new talks lined up for tomorrow. We'd be hard pressed to get it done and in. I'd assume there's a contract agreed between Spurs and obviously and Pedro Porro's camp. I'd assume there's something done there, so we don't have to worry about that. It's something we can progress really quickly, but I really don't know. But regardless, there's a guy coming in now, which is good. It's something. It's a start. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. Drop a like on the video. Obviously, hit the comment section. Let me know what you think about Danjuma, the Zaniolo situation, the Pedro Porro situation. Obviously, hit the subscribe button. Drop the bell notification. There's more of these coming. But lads, that's the end of the video. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.